I've been having way too much fun with that Sam mask. Hi everybody, my name's King Noosme. If there's one thing that Disney loves Halloween. I mean, at all the parks, there's some kind of Halloween event going on every year, whole month, even through November. There are a lot of Disney movies that are based around the holiday, and most of them are the most memorable and loved. So today I decided to rank every single Disney Halloween movie. Kind of. There are a lot of Disney movies that are just released in October and are Halloween movies. So I'm kind of just gonna pick and choose which ones I want to talk about because it's my channel, I can do what I want. Also, I don't believe Descendants and The Swap are very good Halloween movies, even though Disney Plus keeps shoving it down my throat. I'm also not gonna be doing the massive amount of shorts and episodes of TV shows because that would just take way too long. That would literally take forever. I'm also gonna stick to strictly Disney, no Pixar, no Fox movies. But I do have a couple on here that aren't technically Disney movies, but like I said, I do what I want. But lastly, I am human, so I might miss a couple of movies and I might say some things that you're not gonna like, so just beware of that. But lastly, let's quit yapping and get into the video. Let's start off with the classic Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Mainly the Ichabod part, which is the second half of the movie. The story follows a man named Ichabod who moves to the town of Sleepy Hollow to become the new schoolmaster. Ichabod is a strange looking dude with even stranger mannerisms. While in the town, he falls in love with a girl named Katrina, who is very beautiful, but he mainly wants her for her money. But sadly, Katrina's already spoken for by a man named Brom. Brom is a little jealous that Ichabod keeps hitting on his girl, so at every chance he gets, he tries to embarrass Ichabod, but every time it kind of backfires on him. That is until Halloween night. Everyone goes to this party where Brom tells Ichabod the story of the Headless Horseman. He tells Ichabod that the Headless Horseman roams the woods every Halloween looking for a head to replace his own. And that night, as Ichabod is heading home through the woods, he gets freaked out by multiple red herrings that happen around him. But as soon as he lets his guard down and chills out, the Headless Horseman arrives. He chases Ichabod down, swinging a massive sword, trying to cut his head off. But if Ichabod can make it to the other side of the bridge, he is safe from the Headless Horseman. But nobody knows if he actually made it across the bridge, because the next day, all they found was his hat and a smashed pumpkin nearby. Ah, the old tale of Sleepy Hollow, a classic, an absolute classic. This movie holds up very well, even today. The beginning of the movie is quite slow. It's just, background information, story about Ichabod and Brom, blah, blah, blah. But the whole scene in the woods is legit nightmare fuel. And the horseman himself is absolutely terrifying. They do squeeze in some comedy here and there because it's still a kid's movie, but it is the perfect Halloween flick to put on. And it is truly iconic, so I'm gonna slap it right here in A. Mr. Boogedy is a 1986 short film. It follows the Davis family as they move into a small town called Lucifer Falls in London to open up a gag shop. They move into a fixer-upper and ignore all the figurative and literal signs that the house is haunted. And unsurprisingly, it doesn't take long for strange things to start happening around the house. The kids ask the man who sold them the house if it's haunted, and he tells them the story of a very scary man who loved to scare kids by saying, that's it? The kids go home to tell their parents, but their parents don't take anything seriously ever, so they don't believe the kids. But to satisfy the kids, they all camp out in the living room near the fireplace. That night, the mother gets a visit from a beautiful woman who tells them that they need to somehow get Mr. Boogedy's cloak in order to defeat him. And when Mr. Boogedy does appear, the family get trapped in their own special ways. But luckily, the youngest child uses his very scary vacuum that's chasing him to suck Mr. Boogedy's cloak off of his back, defeating him for good. Or did they? So this movie is, strange. I mean, it was made in the 80s. It starts off pretty strong by meeting the family and having some creepy things happen. Then it kind of drags the story of Mr. Boogedy out for 40 minutes. And then we finally get to see the scary guy in the last 5 minutes of the movie. But Mr. Boogedy himself is pretty scary and he is a legit threat to the family. The parents in this one are super annoying, especially the dad. The guy pulls so many pranks on his family that he literally says, "I'm kidding" in his sleep.
Just kidding, just kidding.
That's terrible, dude. Although this movie is really fun and super wacky, I'm gonna slap this movie in D. That's gonna make a lot of people upset. 1 year after Mr. Boogedy, they released the sequel, Bride of Boogedy. The Davis family are back and they're now loving their new demon-free home. They've also started to connect to more people around Lucifer Falls. Everything seems to be going well until each family member starts getting hints that Mr. Boogedy wants revenge. The daughter Eloise gets a visit from Mr. Boogedy himself in the woods. The parents get a warning from a fortune teller, which they don't believe, and both of the boys have a strange and intense nightmare where they find a strange glowing key that teleports them into a graveyard that has a a statue of Mr. Boogedy inside of it that tries to kill them. To ease the kids' minds, the parents hold a fake seance to prove that Mr. Boogedy is dead. But of course that doesn't go as planned. Boogedy possesses the father and makes him unlock a secret room that they're hiding the cloak in. After that, Boogedy possesses a jealous shop owner that's mad at the Davis family because their gag shop is doing better than his own. And Boogedy forces the shop owner to put the cloak on the statue that was in the boy's dream, which unleashes Boogedy so he can wreak havoc on all the town. And he forces their daughter Eloise to be his bride. Hi, Editing King Noosme here. I don't have my camera set up because I am moving. I'm sure you guys are well aware of that by now. It's not their daughter that Mr. Boogedy takes, it's the wife. I don't know what got me so confused by that, but yeah, it's the wife, not the daughter. I'm sorry about that. Luckily, the town people help them defeat Mr. Boogedy and save Eloise from his grasp, and he gets taken back down to the underworld. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I personally loved this one. I liked it a lot more than the first one. It's got higher stakes and a higher budget. Boogedy is not only a threat to the Davis family, but the whole town and world, and it seems like he's gotten a lot stronger too. The parents are still super annoying in this movie, but they do come around by the end of it. This is a great example of a sequel being better than the original, and it's still as goofy and wacky as the first, but it knew when to calm down and get really serious. So I feel like this one deserves a B. If you watch one of the two, watch the second one.
The Black Cauldron from 1985, which is still amazing to this day, but it was also the first Disney movie that didn't have any musical numbers or even songs in the background for our characters to stare off into a puddle of water while they think about their future. But what it did have was a magical pig, as well as the coolest sword that you've ever seen, and even the terrifying Horned King, who is trying his absolute hardest to find the Black Cauldron so he can finally awaken his army of the Cauldron-born and take over the world. And these Cauldron-born are some of the coolest things that I've ever seen. But our brave warrior hero Taran can't just let that happen. Okay, well, I mean, he probably could because
I'm an assistant pig keeper.
But he doesn't have to go out alone because he's got Gurgi, and I'm not exactly sure what he is, but he's not the only one to help Taran on his quest to find the Black Cauldron, but he's also got Princess Alanwi and a bard named Flam, because they know that the only way that they can save everybody is to find the Black Cauldron before the Horned King does. It's an epic tale that's extremely underrated that has an amazing story of a young boy who is just an assistant pig farmer trying his hardest to become the hero that he always dreamed he would be.
All I need is a chance, and I could be a famous warrior.
And because of that, I've got to give it a B+. There it is. So if you get a chance, go watch The Black Cauldron and also go watch more of King Noosme's videos. And thank you for also putting me in this video.
I only came to help the Pillsbury, as he requested.
Oh, can of worms. I have made a video deep diving into this one. Mike Pillsbury is a strange kid. So strange that he believes he's an alien. He makes a machine and attempts to communicate with the aliens, but sadly, it gets destroyed. The next day, Mike is visited by a talking dog named Barnabas, who tells him that he opened a Stargate door, which allows all kinds of other aliens to come to his planet, including an incredibly dangerous one they call the Thode. The Thode likes to capture rare specimen, and he's looking for the perfect human to capture. After the Thode captures Mike's little brother Jay, they get sent on a rescue mission to save his little brother and arrest the evil alien. Like I said, I've already done a whole video on this movie, so if you want a deeper dive, you can go watch that one. This movie is super weird and it's almost like a fever dream of a movie. But damn it, do I love this movie so much. There are a lot of funny and really goofy aliens, including a hooker one, which is still insane to me.
Go out on a date? It would be lots of fun.
And it's a ton of fun to watch. You won't get bored watching this. I'm gonna rank it at B. I really enjoy this movie and it has a lot of fun aliens in it, but sadly it's not as Halloween-y as I'd like.
That boogeyman is really strong.
This movie was so scary to kids that they stopped airing it on Disney Channel. That's fucking sick. Don't Look Under the Bed is a DCOM released in 1999. It follows a girl named Frances, and a lot of weird things start happening around her town. Like really weird stuff. People want someone to blame for all these weird occurrences, and everything seems to point towards Frances. That is until she meets a guy named Larry Houdini. Larry tells her that he is an imaginary friend, and she has sadly been targeted by the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman tries his best to ruin her life, but he takes it a little bit too far and captures her little brother, and takes him to Boogie World. With the help from Larry, who is also slowly turning into his own boogeyman, they save her little brother. This movie is the closest thing to a horror movie I've seen a DCOM get. There are some pretty terrifying scenes in this, and especially when the inanimate objects turn to watch Francis. And the boogeyman himself is very terrifying. You should definitely give this movie a watch if you have never seen it. It's awesome. And I'm giving it a solid A.
Oh, you're so cute.
I forgot how incredibly stupid these movies are. Like legit, this movie is brain rot before brain rot was a thing. Ernest Scared Stupid is a 1991 movie that follows the popular comedic character Ernest, as he tries to save the town from an honestly pretty terrifying troll that is turning everyone he touches into wood. The task seems impossible, that is until they discover if the trolls interact with milk in any way, they explode. So yeah, I understand this is a kid's movie and all, but I don't even think kids would enjoy this. I think kid me would find this annoying. I like dumb humor when it's done right. Like Zoolander and Dumb and Dumber are great examples of dumb humor done right. Like I honestly believe if they made Ernest a side character and not the main character, this movie would be good. He just kind of ruins it with his amazing stupidity. But the creepy troll does elevate this movie a whole lot, and the power to turn kids into solid wood is truly evil and terrifying to think about. So I'm gonna slap this movie in D. I really don't recommend it.
So it really is just the same old Sparky that we all knew and loved.
Okay, I know I said I wouldn't do any shorts, but I'm gonna make an exception for this one. Frankenweenie is a 1984 short film made by the popular Tim Burton. It follows a young boy named Victor and his adorable dog named Sparky. They both enjoy making films together, and sadly, early on in the film, Sparky gets hit by a car and passes away. That is until Victor uses something he learned in biology class to attempt to bring Sparky back to life. So he hooks Sparky up to this contraption that gets struck by lightning, and it does bring him back to life. One day, Sparky escapes from his house and scares a lot of the townspeople. And when the family try to explain to them that nothing is wrong, it's just the same old Sparky like he was when he was alive, they simply don't care and they just mob the poor puppy. They only stop when Sparky sacrifices himself to save Victor from a burning windmill, where they then help bring Sparky back to life for a second time, and Sparky gets a cute little poodle girlfriend. An absolutely adorable short film. An amazing retelling of the classic Frankenstein story with an amazing Tim Burton twist. And it has a satisfying ending. You can never go wrong with that. It also stars a young Shelley Duvall, may she rest in peace. I'm gonna give this movie an A. It's super whimsical and fun, and it's great to watch if you don't have a lot of time. And it was so loved that 28 years later, we got a full-length film out of it.
Sparky!
The 2012 Franken movie was everything the previous movie is, plus a whole lot more. I feel like this movie is what Tim Burton wanted to make in the 80s, but didn't have the power or budget. We get to spend a whole lot more time with Victor and Sparky before the tragic accident, which makes it hit just so much harder, no pun intended. They introduce a love interest for Victor and Sparky. They also introduce a whole group of kids that use Victor's strategy to raise their own dead animals. But sadly, things don't go as well for them. But they do turn their animals into cute versions of classic monsters. Kind of like Sparky is Frankenstein, there is a vampire cat, a werewolf rat, a Godzilla turtle, gremlin sea monkeys, and a mummy hamster. This movie is an absolute delight to watch. You must watch it for yourself. It is truly so underrated that it hurts my soul. I'm putting this in S tier. Go watch it right now. Okay, this is 110% on the list because I wanted to find an excuse to talk about the Gargoyles TV show. But in 1994, Disney Channel decided to drop the coolest fucking show you'll ever see in your life, Gargoyles. Many people don't know this, but the first 5 episodes of Gargoyles are actually a movie. And if you've never seen the show or movie, basically these gargoyles are turned to stone during the day and then awaken at night. In 994 AD, Scotland Vikings are attacking the castle that the gargoyles live in. The gargoyles help the humans protect their home castle, and they try their best to be friendly with the humans. The guards see the gargoyles as heroes, but the princess, court wizard, and town people only see them as monsters. The lead gargoyle, Goliath, tries to help the humans, only to be betrayed and have all but 3 of his family members be crushed while they're in their vulnerable stone state. A curse was then set upon the gargoyles that says that they are only allowed to transform again when their castle reaches above the clouds. 1,000 years later, in 1994, the gargoyles awaken mansion on top of a building on top of New York City. A billionaire named Xanatos rebuilt the castle 1-for-1 on top of his skyscraper in New York City and greets the gargoyles as a friend. Not long after they are awakened, they get attacked by these unknown soldiers that are there to steal some private information from Xanatos. The fight causes all kinds of debris and bullets to fall onto the city streets below, gaining the attention of Elisa, a detective who wants to know what's going on up there. She befriends Goliath and helps him escape the mercenaries, and watching over him while he's in his vulnerable stone state, saving his life. All the other gargoyles gain their names, which are just city streets and places in New York City. We got Hudson, Bronx, Brooklyn, and Broadway. Also, Xanatos reveals that Goliath's love interest, Demona, survived the attack all those years ago. And he asks them to help him get back this disc that the mercenaries stole, which they gladly do, only to be betrayed by Xanatos, who now has an army of robotic gargoyles. And with the help of Elisa, they easily defeat the gargoyles and get Xanatos thrown in prison. I could talk about gargoyles all freaking day. I loved that show so much as a kid. And when I was younger, it was only on during nighttime, and I specifically remember it showing a lot during the month of October, so I kind of associate the show with Halloween. And I mean, come on, these guys can be pretty scary sometimes. So I'm definitely recommending you watch this, even if you're trying to find just something a little different to watch. And to be fair, I'm going to put it in B.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm getting out of here.
In 1980, Disney released a movie called The Ghosts of Buxley Hall. When the 100-year-old Buxley Military Academy falls on hard financial times, it is forced to merge with a school for girls. And the sexist ghost General Ulysses is upset about this. He's upset about the disgrace of tradition and attempts to seek justice, only to be more disgusted by rock music and equal rights for women. So him and his other two accomplices decide to have a war on the living, who are having their own issues with the schools combining. So I'm not gonna lie, this movie was incredibly boring for me. I don't know if I was like incredibly sleepy, if it had been like a long day, but this movie was just like a snooze fest for me. I could not keep attention on it. There are some pretty funny moments with the ghosts messing with the living, but I guess it's just not the movie for me. But to be fair, I'm gonna put it in C tier.
Hello world, mommy's home.
Girl vs. Monster was released in 2012 and follows a girl named Skylar who's not afraid of anything. It's Halloween night and she asks her parents if she can go to a Halloween party while they're gone on a business trip. But they don't let her go and they hire their dad's lab assistant to babysit her. And they lock her inside the house with a security system. To get back at her parents, Skylar turns the power to the house off to sneak out. But little does she know her parents are actually secret monster hunters. And she just released every single monster that they've ever caught, including the incredibly terrible Dimata, who wants to feed on the fear of Skylar and her family forever. Now that Dimata is loose, Skylar feels fear for the first time. Now it's up to her and her friends to overcome their fears to defeat Dimata and the hundreds and hundreds of other monsters that have been released over the city. This movie was really fun to watch. It definitely has that Disney Channel campiness to it, and the CGI is quite atrocious at times, I'm not gonna lie. But it wasn't terrible. The monsters are actually a lot of fun, and you really do root for Skylar and her friends to overcome their fears the whole movie. It's really nice. I'm gonna put this one at B. I can see why this is a lot of people's favorite Halloween movie, but personally it's not for me. I'll probably watch it like maybe once every couple of years.
Halloween is cool.
In 1998, Disney Channel decided to drop one of the most iconic Halloween movies of all time, Halloweentown. Halloweentown really needs no introduction. I think everybody has seen it. But for those who haven't seen Halloweentown, go watch it. What are you doing? Halloweentown is a movie about a girl named Marnie who gets a visit from her grandma who is secretly a witch. And she tells Marnie the story of Halloweentown, a place where witches and vampires and all other monsters live in harmony. That night, Marnie eavesdrops on a conversation between her grandmother and mother and overhears that she is also a witch. Her brother Dylan, and her little sister Sophie all sneak onto the bus to Halloweentown, where they spend time learning spells and having fun with their grandma. But they find out that something evil is lurking around Halloweentown when multiple citizens seem to be frozen in time. So the family gather ingredients to make a talisman and place it inside the giant pumpkin in the center of town to defeat the evil Kalabar and unfreeze the town from his spell. I can't really say anything bad about this masterpiece. It's whimsical and fun and probably the most creative decom I've ever seen. All the monsters look and are super awesome, and every single character in the movie is super likable. You just can't hate this movie. So unsurprisingly, this is going straight to S tier.
Trapper.
2 years later, in 2001, they released the sequel to Halloweentown. In this one, the Grandma Aggie has been living with the family for 2 years now, and she's somewhat missing her home. But to get over it, she throws Halloween parties every year. At the party, Marnie meets a cute guy named Cal who she really wants to impress. So she shows him her grandmother's room, which is full of all kinds of cool witchy stuff. And unsurprisingly, he steals Aggie's book of spells. And by the time they find out, they've already learned that Cal is the previous villain, Kalabar's son. And by the time they make it to Halloweentown, it's too late. Everything is gray and boring, including the pumpkin, man, come on! And it doesn't take long for the spell to affect Aggie as well because she spent so much time in Halloweentown. So that leaves Marnie and her friend Luke to find the spell to turn everything back to normal. But as they do that in Halloweentown, Cal turns everyone in the real world into monsters. The same monsters that they have dressed up as for Halloween. So him and Marnie have a magic fight for the book of spells to save everyone. This isn't a bad sequel movie, but it definitely does feel like a step down from the original. Sure, Cal got further in his plan than his father Kalabar, but Cal doesn't seem as threatening as Kalabar was. But the very last scene with the humans getting turned into monsters was really cool, and some of the monsters were actually pretty terrifying, especially their mom. That was freakish to me as a kid. Sadly, this sequel did not live up to the original, so I'm going to slap it at B.
How much longer do I have to wear this stupid human suit?
3 years later, in 2004, they released another sequel to Halloweentown, Halloweentown High. In this movie, Marnie wants to integrate monsters and humans in the real world. After she's granted a dozen Halloweentown teens, she teaches them how to blend in to human school. But there's a group of people called the Knights of the Iron Dagger who want to keep the worlds separate. And they do everything they can to turn the world against the monsters of Halloweentown. I do like this one more than the second one, but just like the second one, there is a huge lack of Halloweentown. Like, it's not in the movie at all. It is nice to meet some more of the Halloweentown residents, and it is kind of cool seeing how they would interact with humans because things are so different between the worlds. But what I think would have made this movie even better is if they did kind of like a swap, like a dozen Halloweentown students went to this high school and a dozen of these high school students went to Halloweentown. And they see how the monsters treat the humans in Halloweentown compared to the humans treating the monsters in the real world. And naturally, of course, the monsters are going to be more accepting of the humans because they have all kinds of different races and people, but the humans might not like the monsters as much. So then the humans from Halloweentown have to convince their fellow humans that monsters are all right. That would have made more sense than one dude at the end of the movie being like, come on guys, they're not that bad. I know it sounds like I'm just straight hating on this one, but I really did like it. This one has a lot more lovable monsters in it, and they're all very charismatic. And I do love that Dylan has a love interest, but they're just friends. Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm gonna put this movie right at B, but just above the second one.
Marnie Piper is a Cromwell of the prophecy, the one we have waited for.
Finally, in 2006, they released the final Halloweentown movie, until they reboot it in a couple of years. Marnie and Dylan head back to Who Is That? Yeah, they recast Marnie in the final movie because Kimberly Brown and Disney couldn't come up with a deal, but she said that she was ready and willing to do it. I personally think it's because she got a little bit too old for the role, but she's going to college anyways. Why does it matter? Anyways, they head back to Halloweentown because Marnie got accepted into Witch University. But the only way she is allowed to go is if her brother Dylan goes with her. But when they get there, they learn that there is a strict no magic rule, and the college operates like a normal human college would. One of the teachers discovers a locked box that belongs to the Cromwell family, which is Marnie's family, by the way, and the school's higher-ups desperately want her to open it, which she has a lot of trouble doing, despite her brother warning her to not do this because the higher-ups are evil people. So she goes back in time to get a necklace and meets her young grandma Aggie. When she gets back, the higher-ups have turned her brother into a dog, and they force her to use the necklace to turn all the Halloweentown citizens into slaves. Marnie then tricks the higher-ups and strips them and their families of their magic powers. And they're taken to Halloweentown Federal Prison. So yeah, I was complaining that there was a lack of Halloweentown in the previous two movies, and in this one they finally go back, and they can't use magic. How do you fumble so bad? Why do you let them do their Halloweentown things? And sadly, the new Marnie actress just doesn't have the same charisma and vibe as the old Marnie. Although I'm very happy they're back in Halloweentown, I am quite disappointed in this movie as well. I'm gonna put this one at C because it made me mad.
Dad?
Yes.
I see dead people.
I have also made a video on this one, so if you want a deeper dive, go check that out. Jim Evers is a real estate agent that's a bit too obsessed with his job, and he doesn't pay much attention to his family. So to make up for it, he decides to take his family on a nice vacation. But on the way, they have to stop and check out a mansion that he's wanting to sell. While they're inside the mansion, a freak storm comes and traps them inside the house for the night. And while they're inside, very strange things start happening to the family. They discover that the mansion is haunted by hundreds of ghosts that are looking to break a curse, and some are willing to do anything to break that curse. I personally really love this movie. It's one of Disney's biggest flops, but over the years, it's kind of gained somewhat of a cult following. I know some people prefer this one over the new one. It's super goofy and fun, and of course, Eddie Murphy is gonna be hilarious in it, and it's great to watch with some family or friends. So I'm gonna put this one in B as well.
I'm not afraid of a couple ghosts.
You say that now.
Oh, I'm afraid if I show too much of this one, I'm gonna get copyrighted. In 2023, we got another Haunted Mansion movie that follows an astrophysicist who falls in love and tragically loses a tour guide for famously haunted places in New Orleans. After the tragic loss of his lover, he falls into a deep depression and does everything he can to prove that ghosts are real, even though he doesn't even believe in them himself. He gets hired to photograph a mansion with a special camera for a woman and her son who claim that this house is extremely haunted. Sadly, he doesn't find anything in the house because the camera wasn't charged. Until he gets home to figure out that a ghost of a sailor followed him from the mansion. They recruit an exorcist, a psychic, and a professor to uncover the secrets of the mansion in order to free all the ghosts from an especially malevolent spirit. This was a really fun watch for me, especially seeing all the Easter eggs from the rides. It does feel like it drags here and there, but the climax of the movie is really super intense and I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna put this one at A. Definitely watch it if you haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you're very scary.
Oh, the Muppets Haunted Mansion. On the way to a Halloween party, Gonzo and Pepe stop by a mansion that Gonzo's favorite magician mysteriously disappeared in 100 years ago. After they get dropped off, they immediately start meeting a bunch of ghosts, including their ghost host, who tells them that they must survive the whole night in there or they'll be stuck there forever. It's a Muppet movie. Of course, it's a ton of fun. It's super goofy, absolutely loaded in famous actors. You really can't go wrong watching a Muppet movie. I'm going to give this one a B as well. Talk all these good things. It's mid, by the way.
You know what they say, the gates of hell are open 24/7.
H.E. Double Hockey Sticks is a 1999 movie that follows a goofy devil named Greffelkin, who is sent to the real world by Beelzebub, the demon, to get the soul of famous hockey player Dave Heinrich, who plays for the team Delaware Demons. They make a deal for Dave to win the famous Stanley Cup, but part of the deal is he'll be traded to the Annapolis Angels, who are the worst team in the league. But since Beelzebub played a mean prank on Greffelkin, so as revenge, he decides to help Dave and the team with the help of Angel Gabriel to beat the Delaware Demons and win the Stanley Cup fair and square to get Dave his soul back. This one is especially goofy. It's like the 90s movie ever. And it was absolutely a load of fun to watch. I mean, there's two demons named Skid and Mark. That shit made me laugh.
Hey, Skid, Mark, hey, wipe sweaty brow, guys.
But is it the best movie in the world? No, I'm gonna slap it in C tier.
Oh, come on, it's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Do I even need to talk about this one? Hocus Pocus is a 1993 movie that follows three witches, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah. The sisters suck souls out of little girls in order to stay young forever. That is until they're hanged for being witches and murder. But before they die, they set a spell that states that if a virgin lights the black flame candle on Halloween, they will come back to life. Skip a couple of years later, and now we follow Max, a teenage boy that has moved from LA to Salem. On Halloween, he takes his little sister Danny trick-or-treating, where he runs into his crush, Allison. The kids go to the old Sanderson sister witch house, where Max accidentally lights the black flame, resurrecting the Sanderson sisters. And the witches immediately try to steal Danny's soul. Luckily, Max saves her and steals Winifred's spell book. After the kids trap them in a cauldron, they try their best to reverse the spell that's on Binks to turn him back into human. Little do they know, the witches did not die in the cauldron. They make it out and are now on the search for the children. They resurrect Winifred's old ex-lover, Billy Butcherson, and they make him find the kids for them. But of course, things don't always go as planned for either party, but just go watch Hocus Pocus if you haven't seen it. This is the most Halloween movie of all time. There's nothing I can really say. It's like almost a perfect movie. So believe it or not, this is going in S tier, of course. Why would it not go in S tier?
Yes, Salem, we're back!
Almost 30 years later, they released Hocus Pocus 2 in 2022. Two girls, Becca and Izzy, ditch their former friend Cassie's party to go visit a magic shop, where the owner, Gilbert, gives Becca a black candle. Becca and Izzy go out and set up a birthday ritual and light the black flame, which resurrects the Sanderson sisters again. But this time, things are modern, so things get a little wacky.
Winnie, I'm surfing, Cowabunga.
The sisters get their magic spellbook back and they target the mayor of the town. He also happens to be their ex-friend Cassie's dad. They want to eliminate him to take revenge on modern Salem. They plan to use Magicae Maximum, a forbidden spell that makes the witch that uses it all powerful. So the girls go back, make up with their friend Cassie, and form a coven. And they save Cassie's dad, and most importantly the town, from the Sanderson sisters for good. This one is still a pretty good movie, but you can absolutely tell that they're just nostalgia baiting the whole time. I can't imagine anyone would just nostalgia bait for views. Why are you looking at me? That being said, the best part of the movie is the Sanderson sisters. They're just as goofy and whimsical and fun as the previous movie, and they really try to bring that charm that the first movie had back. Sadly, there's only so much that 3 actresses can do, so this movie kind of falls flat for me. It just feels very forced, you know? Sometimes movies, they don't need a sequel. So I'm sadly gonna put Hocus Pocus 2 at B.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I Downloaded a Ghost was released in 2004 and is technically not a Disney movie, apparently, but it did air on Disney Channel, so I thought it was a Disney movie. It's my video, let me do what I want. This movie follows a girl named Stella and her best friend Albert. They want to make a super scary haunted house to beat their neighbors in a Halloween event this year. While looking for ideas, they find a website that lets them download a ghost and bring them into the real world. And the ghost I download is a wannabe comedian and is super annoying. And they find out that they must solve all of his problems or Stella's gonna be stuck with him forever, which leads them to investigate a stolen cat statue and to get the man that caused his death arrested in order to set the guy free. This was a movie for sure. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's got fun characters. Stella is a super likable person and Winston really isn't that annoying. It's definitely a good watch if you've never seen it before, but it's one of those movies you'll just forget about in 2 days. I'm gonna throw it in C tier. It's just kind of mid.
I accidentally drank your Invisible Science Project moth and now I'm invisible too?
Invisible Sister is a 2015 movie about 2 sisters, Cleo and Molly. Cleo feels somewhat invisible. Even though she's super smart and a great student, nobody seems to pay attention to her. Unlike her sister Molly, who is an outgoing and popular girl. One night, Cleo is experimenting when she accidentally makes an invisibility potion, which she discovers because a moth flew into the vapor of her concoction. The moth escapes Cleo's grasp but lands in her sister's drink, and her sister drinks it. Ugh. Since she consumed the moth, she turns invisible herself. And now Cleo has to pretend to be her sister for a day while they try to find a way to turn her back. Oh, and it happens on Halloween. That's about as Halloween as this movie gets. This is a very sweet movie, just a classic family story that Disney just loves to tell kids. But I really wasn't that impressed with it, honestly. And I love sibling bonds, but it's been done before, so I'm gonna slap this one in C.
Happy Halloween.
Mickey's House of Villains was a 2002 straight-to-DVD film based off the TV show House of Mouse. This particular night is Halloween, and a bunch of villains have come to see the show. Mickey doesn't see a problem with this, but he doesn't know that Jafar has a trick up his sleeve. But he has to wait until midnight in order to use it. In the meantime, they show us a couple of shorts, including some classic ones like Lonesome Ghosts. And once midnight hits, Jafar, with the help of the other villains, takes over the show. And they play some especially spooky clips. And using the power of the magic lamp, Mickey saves his show and the audience. Very cute little movie. Definitely made for younger audiences. Toddlers. It's made for toddlers, but I enjoyed watching it. Definitely a great movie to watch if you have kids and you want to get them in the Halloween spirit. I'm gonna put this one in B. It's not that bad, but if you're over the age of like 13, you'll probably get bored of it pretty quickly.
That's it. I don't want to hear another word about vampires from this family.
Mom's got a date with a vampire. This 2000 film is pretty much exactly what the title says. Chelsea and Adam set their mom up on a blind date with a man named Dimitri, and everything seems to be going well until their little brother sees him transform into a bat and deduces that he's a vampire. The older siblings, of course, don't believe their little brother, so their little brother calls Malachi Van Helsing, a vampire hunter. Helsing tracks down the vampire and attempts to save their mom, but the vampire has already put her in a trance, so it's up to him and the kids to save her. This is a great movie. If you want a great movie to just watch with your family, super funny, heartwarming, and goofy, this is the perfect one to watch. I'm putting this movie at A. It's super underrated and deserves a lot more love.
Help! My babysitter's a vampire!
My Babysitter's a Vampire. I've already made a video about this movie, so if you want a deeper dive, go watch that video. Although not technically a Disney Channel movie, it did air on Disney Channel and was super popular, so popular it it got its own TV show. Babysitter's a Vampire is a 2010 movie that follows a boy named Ethan and his babysitter Vanessa, who is, you guessed it, a vampire. Yes, I used that joke in the video. I'm gonna reuse it right here, right now. Them, with the help of his best friend Benny, have to stop an especially evil vampire from taking the souls of the town people in order to take the town over. I absolutely love this movie so much. I have so much nostalgia for this movie, and I might be a little biased in my ranking, but I'm giving this one an A. So much goofy fun, everything is hilarious. They make some really great jokes in it, actually, and it's so popular it got its own TV series. I mean, come on. This is Halloween, this is Halloween. This is another movie that needs absolutely no introduction. People have Nightmare Before Christmas merch up year round. It's so popular. In case you somehow don't know about this movie, it follows Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloweentown. Not the one we talked about earlier. This is a different Halloweentown. Jack finds a bunch of doors to different holidays and discovers Christmas Land.
What's this? What's this?
And he is absolutely fascinated by it and decides to take over the holiday. So with the help of mischievous kids, they kidnap Santa and take him to the evil Oogie Boogie, who plots to play with Santa's life as Jack takes his job. Jack's lover Sally tries to warn him multiple times that this is a terrible idea, but of course Jack doesn't listen. Sadly, things don't go as planned and Jack gets shot down by the military. Yikes. And now Jack has to save Santa Claus and his lover Sally from the evil Oogie Boogie. An iconic Halloween movie, an iconic movie, period. One of my favorites to watch during Halloween and Christmas. And to absolutely nobody's surprise, this one's going straight into S tier.
I shall not join forces with one villain, but with all of them.
Once Upon a Halloween is a 2005 straight-to-DVD movie where the evil queen plots to take Halloween with the help of her cauldron showing her clips of various Disney villains in order to find one to help her. In the end, she chooses to make all of them help her. But the cauldron decides to teach her a lesson and makes her disappear, ruining her plan. So this is just a movie of various Disney movie clips. So it's fun to get some spooky nostalgia from the villains, I guess. The only original parts of this movie are the terrible CGI, where you only see the queen's shadow moving around and the camera panning over some still images. If you're really that interested in watching it, the whole thing is on YouTube. That's where I watched it. But it's not very good. So I'm gonna slap this one in the F category.
Let the mayhem begin.
Phantom of the Megaplex is a 2000s movie that follows the Riley siblings. The oldest brother, Pete, works at a Megaplex and wants to be general manager someday. And this night is especially big for the theater because they're premiering a movie called Midnight Mayhem. And the owner of the theater is coming to see it. Throughout the night, a bunch of strange things start happening around the theater. The popcorn machine malfunctions, reels are getting messed up. Somehow a giant fan ends up in a movie with a tornado in it. I guess they call that a 4D experience. Pete, along with his siblings, Karen and Brian, notice a trend in all the mishaps and they deduce that it's the Phantom of the Megaplex. And the Phantom is trying to ruin the big night. So they use a bunch of detective work in order to capture the Phantom before he could ruin the night completely. I enjoy this movie a lot. I had never seen it before this video and it's recommended to me a whole lot to make a video out of. I'm honestly really surprised I hadn't watched it sooner. It's just the classic retelling of the Phantom of the Opera but with a decom twist. And it's a great movie, honestly. Tons of fun, a lot of action. Definitely go check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm gonna slap this movie straight an A.
Trick or treat!
Pooh's Heffalump Halloween movie. It's Halloween night in the 100 Acre Woods, and everyone's excited, especially the Heffalump, because it's his first ever Halloween. Before they go trick-or-treating, Tigger decides to scare everybody by telling them the story of the Gabloon, a scary creature that'll turn you into a jack-o'-lantern if he catches you. But if you catch him first, he will grant you a wish. Sadly, while Tigger was telling the story, Pooh ate all the candy that Rabbit had gathered for everybody. So Lumpy and Roo head out to capture the Gabloon and wish for more candy. And along the way, Roo actually tells the story to the movie Boo to You, Winnie the Pooh, which is why it's not on this list. While setting a trap for the Gabloon, the two spot a mysterious figure that has a wheelbarrow full of pumpkins. The two think it's the Gabloon and it scares them so bad that they get separated. And then Roo finds a pumpkin that looks remarkably like Lumpy. Like, that's absolutely insane how close that looks. Thinking he's been taken by the Gabloon, Roo runs back to the others, and he recruits them to help them find Lumpy, which they obviously do, and then the whole group go back and go trick-or-treating. And then it's revealed that the mysterious figure they saw earlier was actually just Roo's mom, Kanga. You can never go wrong with a Winnie the Pooh movie. They're absolutely wholesome, and they're really peaceful to watch, even as an adult. And this one is one of the better Winnie the Pooh movies, in my opinion. I'm gonna slap it in A tier.
There's no place like home.
In 1985, they made a sequel to the famous Wizard of Oz. They called it Return to Oz, and this one is especially dark. Dorothy is taken to a sanatorium because of her obsession with Oz made her seem a little crazy. Dorothy escapes the sanatorium and rides a chicken coop all the way back to Oz, where she discovers Oz in ruin, and her friends have been turned into stone. They're also very terrifying creatures just running around everywhere. Dorothy makes some new friends, and they all work together to take down the Gnome King to save the land of Oz, where they offer her to be queen, but she denies it in order to go back home, where she's probably going to be put back in a sanatorium. This is honestly a really great movie. 80s dark fantasy movies, they just always hit different, you know? But this movie has some especially scary scenes, and all the creatures in it are eerie. I'm gonna put this movie at A. It's just as wonderful and whimsical as the original, but with a fun little horror twist squeezed in there.
As we say in the ghost business, boo!
Hey guys, it's Matt Neff from FUDW. Scream Team is a movie I remember seeing as a kid, but I couldn't recall a single detail before I rewatched it for this ranking video. The movie follows two kids who just lost their grandpa, played by baby Darcy Lewis and the frickin' voice of Arthur. I know these characters have real names, but I don't care. So Arthur and Darcy Lewis discover a network of ghosts running what looks like a dollar store version of the waiting room from Beetlejuice. The main group of ghosts includes a revolutionary soldier played by Eric Idle, as well as Kathy Najimy recycling her shtick from Hocus Pocus, a good 20 years before she would again recycle her shtick from Hocus Pocus. There's also this ghost played by Tommy Davidson, aka the voice of Oscar Proud. He plays a dead skydiver that everyone calls Jumper, which is like naming an anaphylactic kid Peanut. These three ghosts go around looking for souls that don't want to cross over into the afterlife. They are the titular Scream Team, even though they never actually call themselves the Scream Team. Yeah, in the movie they refer to themselves as the Soul Patrol. I feel like that was the movie's original title before some exec realized Soul Patrol sounds more like a band at the discotheque than a children's Halloween movie. The rest of the film is about the kids teaming up with a ghost to rescue their grandpa's soul from the ghost of Sir Topham Hatt, and stopping him from taking his revenge against the whole town. Sadly, I can't rank this movie higher than C tier. It's definitely a high C, but it falls into the trap of being so inoffensive that it ends up being forgettable. It's not as good as something like Halloweentown or Don't Look Under the Bed to be regarded as a classic, but it's also not enjoyably bad as stinkers like Can of Worms and the Kim Possible movie, which are certainly memorable in their own way. When people talk about middle-of-the-road Disney Channel movies, I feel like this is the exact middle.
Who dares summon me?
SpookyBuddies came out in 2011 and somehow has worse CGI than the Casper movie that came out in 1995. The movie starts in 1937 with an evil warlock that wants to summon the Halloweentown to open a portal so that evil ghosts can take over the world. But he needs 5 puppy souls in order to do that. And he takes the souls and turns the puppies into stone. But one of the puppies gets away before its soul can be taken. So they don't finish the seance and the warlock and Halloweenhound get trapped in the mirror. 75 years later, the puppies and their kids all hear the story. But now it's more of an urban legend throughout the town. The other pups pick on B-Dog for being a little too scared of the story. To prove he isn't scared, he goes inside the now abandoned house and says Halloweenhound 3 times in the mirror, which releases the warlock and the hound. The warlock searches for his magic staff and book while the Halloweenhound hunts down the puppies, which they get mighty close to doing, but of course the buddies defeat them by farting in their face. And they get reunited with their kids. I mean, it's an Air Buddies movie. They're not really known for their quality work. But I know it's made for like infant children, so I'm not gonna be too harsh on it. The Warlock was a funny and pretty entertaining villain, and I'm sure if I was a child, the Halloweenhound would probably terrify me. I mean, the dog on Goosebumps did scare me, so I'm sure he would. I'm gonna put this movie at C. If you have an infant child, they'll surely love it.
They've seen too much. Hunt them down.
Something Wicked This Way Comes is a 1983 film that's based off of a book with the same name. Carnival shows up in a small town in Illinois, and some of the townspeople are oddly very enticed by the attractions. 2 young boys named Will and Jim try to figure out what's making these people so crazy about the rides. While investigating, they find a carousel that's closed off to the public and are confronted by the carnival owner, Mr. Dark. He lets them go, but is very suspicious of the two. That night, Will and Jim go back to the carousel, and they find that Mr. Dark's assistant is riding the carousel backwards, and it mysteriously reverts him back into a little boy. Will and Jim followed the little boy all the way to their elderly teacher's house, where she claims that he is her nephew visiting, but they know that's not the truth. And that night, while she's looking in the mirror, she turns back into a young, beautiful woman. But she's blind, so she can never see herself again. And the next day, Mr. Dark makes a fake parade, but is actually searching for the two boys. He tries to use Will's father, Charles, to capture them, but it doesn't work. So he knocks Charles out and takes the boys back to the carnival, trapping Will in a hall of mirrors and taking Jim onto the carousel with him. Luckily, Charles gets there and saves both of the boys, and Mr. Dark gets struck by lightning, which turns him into a burnt corpse. So I didn't expect this movie to go this hard. Usually Disney movies are kind of, you know, a little whimsical, lighthearted, and fun. Not this one. This is the closest thing to a horror movie I've seen a Disney movie get. Some of the scenes are genuinely terrifying, and Mr. Dark himself is a personification of evil. And there's so much I didn't tell you about specific townspeople. There's just so much that happens in this movie, you just have to watch it yourself. This one really surprised me with how good it is. I'm gonna put it at A.
I am a mother like no other.
In 1999, Disney released their 8th DCOM Smart House. This movie follows a boy named Ben Cooper who won a brand new high-tech house they call a smart house, run by an AI named Pat. Sarah, the woman that built the house, shows them around and kind of hits it off with their dad, which Ben doesn't like because he's still grieving over the death of his mother. While trying to sabotage his dad's new relationship, he teaches Pat how to be more motherly, so that he won't need a new mother because the house is pretty much a mother. But Pat takes it a bit overboard and becomes a very strict and overbearing mom. They call Sarah over to fix Pat, and Sarah just shuts her down completely to try and give the AI some time to reset. But sadly, this didn't work, and it just made Pat very, very upset. Pat creates a projection form of herself, locks the family inside the house, and kicks Sarah out. Now Sarah and Ben have to team up and fix Pat to have everything go back to normal. This movie has been recommended to me a whole lot here recently, and I still want to do a deeper dive into the movie because it's really good. And Pat is awesome. She is definitely like top 5 Disney villain, or DCOM villain, sorry. She's actually very intense and scary at the end of the movie. Like, she literally showed them Nazis and nuclear bombs while trying to explain to them why being locked inside the house is a good thing. It's just absolutely insanity to me. So if you haven't seen Smart House, definitely give it a watch. It is very much worth your time. I'm going to slap this one at A as well.
Most people call me Susie Q like the song.
Susie Q is a 1996 DCOM movie that is somewhat forgotten. It also stars Amy Jo Johnson, whom I've had a huge crush on since I was a little kid. I mean, she was the pink Power Ranger. She was hot. In 1995, Susie Q and her boyfriend are off to a dance when a drunk driver crashes into them and makes them fall off of a bridge, drowning in the car. Oh, it's kind of brutal for a DCOM, honestly. 40 years later, a family moves into Susie's house, where they find out very quickly that it's haunted. And while fishing with his little sister, Zach finds a bracelet in the same river that Susie died in. He brings it back home, and him and Susie both discover that he can see her now. Susie asks Zach to please help her figure out what happened to her parents and why they were just suddenly kicked out of their house. Turns out the bank is missing a deed from her parents, which is making them pay $25,000, which they cannot afford. So Zach and his little sister Terry help Susie find the deed to help save her parents from homelessness and let Susie rest in peace. And along the way, Susie and Zach fall in love. I don't blame them. But sadly, they can't be together because, well, she's dead. I honestly didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did. It's definitely not a Halloween movie. It has a ghost in it though. The closest thing you get to scary in this movie is faucets turning on by themselves. It's a super cute movie, and I'm glad I got to find it and watch it before it becomes lost media. So I'm gonna give this movie a C.
Can't you take the service elevator?
Tower of Terror is a 1997 movie, and the first one to be based off of one of the Disney rides. It follows a journalist named Buzzy who is infamous for making fake paranormal stories. One day, an elderly lady named Abigail tells Buzzy that on Halloween night in 1935, she witnessed a bizarre event happen in the now abandoned Hollywood Tower Hotel. She says that 5 guests just mysteriously vanished in the elevator on the way to the top floor for a Halloween party, including famous child star Sally Shine. The elderly lady says that Sally was cursed by her jealous nanny, but she messed up on part of the curse, so now the 5 just haunt the Hollywood Tower Hotel. And she wants Buzzy to go inside and get proof that they're there. So Buzzy hires an actress and brings his niece along to fabricate some pictures for this old lady. But while they're there, some very strange and spooky things start happening to the group, and they happen to find a book of spells that can help them reverse the curse. Now Anna and the actress want to help lift the curse from the spirits. And while talking to the ghost, Anna discovers that it wasn't the nanny that put the curse on them, but the elderly lady from earlier was actually Sally Shine's sister, who was jealous of her sister's talent and fame. The group gather personal belongings of each ghost and repaired the elevator in order to lift the curse. But of course, things don't go as planned. Turns out that they were set up by Abigail to finish the curse for her. And luckily, Sally makes it out of the elevator before it can close, but sadly, Anna is trapped inside. And now she's going to die if they don't get her out. And while they try to get her out, Sally and Abigail reconcile. Luckily, Sally forgives her sister for all the awful things that she's done in the past. And while they hold hands, magic sparkles stop the elevator. Then the Hollywood Tower Hotel gets restored and reopened to the public. This is a great movie. I watched it about a month ago, so some of the details might be a little off. And I personally really want to make a video about this movie because not a lot of people have talked about it. And it's also a little hard to summarize because so much shit happens in the movie. I personally really like this one, even though Buzzy is a super unlikable guy at the beginning of the movie, but he does have a nice little redemption arc throughout the movie. So I'm gonna slap this movie in B. It's a little bit underrated, but not the best movie in the world.
Go Twitches! Go Twitches!
This is yet another movie I have made a video on. Twitches is a movie released in 2005 and it follows two sisters, Cameron and Alex. They were born in a magical dimension called Coventry, and to save them from an impending darkness, they are separated at birth. But they are reunited on their 21st birthday, which also happens to be Halloween night. And they also discover that they have magical powers. They meet their guardians, Karsh and Ileana, who inform them that they are the only ones that can stop an impending darkness that's taking over Coventry. The darkness turns out to be their biological mother's lover, Thantos, and it takes the power of light and love to defeat the darkness. It's a wonderful movie about family and love and the bond between siblings, especially twins. It's got some goofy moments in it, and the CGI in it kind of fucks with my head, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna slap this movie at B. 2 years later, in 2007, they released Twitches 2. The twins are back and are now living together and starting to act like actual siblings. Both Alex and Cameron start receiving clues that their father is actually alive, but he's trapped in the Shadowlands of Coventry. Their mom Miranda wants them to cast a spell that will vanquish the Shadowlands and their father forever. Alex doesn't want to do the spell, but Cameron finishes it anyways, which releases their father, but also accidentally releases Thantos. And it takes a lot of power, the whole power of the family, to defeat Thantos for good. This one is definitely better than the first one. They toned down all the goofy stuff from the first one. It's still there, but it's just toned down, and they made an actually really good movie. I remember watching this one a lot more as a kid, and I really enjoyed it. So this one is obviously going to go in A tier.
So what are we gonna call him? How about Harold?
Under Wraps was released in 1997 and follows a kid named Marshall and his friends Amy and Gilbert. They're exploring a newly abandoned house where they find a mummy inside. Marshall decides to keep the mummy and name him Harold. The kids quickly find out that they need to get Harold back into his tomb before midnight on Halloween night, or he'll be turned to dust and his soul will be gone forever. And when they try to get him back into his tomb, it's gone. So they go on an adventure to find his tomb, and along the way, they find out that he was a high priest, and he had a secret relationship with the queen he guarded, whom he was deeply in love with. They even have matching necklaces. This is such a sweet and funny movie. I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. I mean, come on, this cover looks so wacky and goofy. I was like, oh, this is gonna be dumb. The Mummy Harold is so funny and can somehow convey emotions really well, even though half of his face is decayed off. And I don't know if this is a hot take, but this is an S tier Halloween movie. Super underrated, great for the whole family. Sadly, it's not on Disney Plus, but you can find the whole movie here on YouTube. Go watch it right now.
Museums are for dead mummies, not live ones.
In 2021, they remade Under Wraps and made it more modern for newer audiences. And besides that, it's almost identical to the original movie. I mean, they even reuse a lot of the lines. Of course, they reworked the story a little bit to have it make a little more sense, and they have new scenes, but they did somewhat push all the lovey-dovey stuff that's in the original movie off to the side for this one. And there's a whole lot more threat to lose Harold in this one. I really do like the new mummy design, minus the teeth on his lip. What the hell? And the new necklace looks really nice to me. The movie is a little bit more goofy than the original, but I personally think it gets a little bit too much hate. I'm giving this one an A. The first one definitely has more charm and is a little bit funnier, but this one was also a lot of fun to watch as well. Marshall and his friends are back to help save Harold and his love Rose. After Harold's best friend turned rival Sobek searches for them to get revenge on Harold for stealing Rose from him. The kids try their best to keep the mummy safe and hidden from sight, but of course things don't go as planned and Rose gets captured. So it's up to Harold and the gang to save Rose from being entombed with Sobek for the rest of eternity. This was an okay sequel. They brought the love message back from the original, and it was very nice to see Harold and Rose interact with each other, and you could really see how much they love each other. And Sobek is a really fun and pretty cool antagonist. I do kind of feel like they put comedy over story in this movie, so it made the movie feel a little unserious and it kind of drags along. But I'm gonna put this one in C. If you enjoyed the first one, you might like this one as well, but it kind of just fell flat in my opinion. I do enjoy the dance scene though.
I wish you and Dad had never even met!
Okay, I don't know how this is a Halloween movie, but Disney claims it is, so okay. The Russo family go on vacation to the Caribbean, where they run into a former wizard who wishes to change his parrot wife back into human with the Stone of Dreams, which has the power to grant and reverse any wish or spell. Their dad doesn't let them go on the journey because many wizards have tried to find the Stone of Dreams, but none of them make it back alive. And during an argument with Alex and her mom, Alex wishes that their parents had never met.
I wish you and Dad had never even met!
Which comes true. And since their parents never met, they don't know their kids, and their kids are slowly fading out of existence. And now they have 48 hours to find the Stone of Dreams so they can reverse the wish, or they'll disappear and their parents will never meet again. I remember loving this movie as a kid, and the idea of your parents just forgetting you one day is actually really terrifying to children. I remember that scaring me more than anything. So I can see where it is horror-ish to kids. Plus the climax of the movie with the wizard fight at the end, that was pretty intense and kind of scary to me as a kid as well. I was a little crybaby apparently. I mean, slowly losing all your memories of your family and also slowly dissolving out of existence, that's crazy. It's scary. I don't think it's a good Halloween movie, but it is a good movie, so I'm gonna put it at B.
Very soon, a monster unlike anything you faced will be released.
Okay, so this is Werewolf by Night. In the Marvel Universe, I know this is about Disney, but Marvel's owned by Disney, so like, it kind of counts. But in the Marvel Universe, there's a secret society of monster hunters, and the big daddy monster hunter Ulysses Bloodstone just died. All the top monster hunters come to pay their respects and to also compete for this cool Bloodstone artifact. We meet all the monster hunters, but let's be honest, only two of them matter, and that's Jack Russell and Elsa Bloodstone. And Elsa is the daughter of old Ulysses. The way that they compete is not only by fighting each other, but also by hunting a monster. And that monster is the Man-Thing. Jack Russell's the first one to run into the Man-Thing, and they're like best buds. Turns out the only reason why he came to this soiree was to save his buddy. But the two of them get separated and Jack runs into Elsa, and they start to kind of have like a friendly relationship with each other. That is until they both get captured by Verussa Bloodstone, Elsa's evil stepmommy. Verussa puts him in a cage and apparently knew that Jack was a werewolf the entire time. She's gonna force him to turn into a werewolf so that he can kill Elsa. But you see, our boy Jack, he has an idea, and that idea is smell the lady. So when Verussa forces him to transform, he remembers her and he just starts going to town on everyone, dude. Him transforming distracts everybody, so it allows Elsa to escape. And when she runs into the Man-Thing, she's like, hey, Wolf Boy's over there, buddy. Man-Thing also just kind of murks her stepmom, so good looking out, dog. And the three of them get to make it out alive, which I can't say for everyone else. But honestly, I think this special is okay. It's not really scary at all. Of course it's not, it's freaking Disney. It kind of just has like that Marvel feel, you know? I did like watching the werewolf absolutely rip apart these awful, like, nameless people. So that was pretty cool. So I'd probably say it's like middle of the line B tier. Thanks for letting me do this.
Oh my god, do I have to watch these? Zombies is a 2018 DCOM that follows Zed, a zombie, and a cheerleader named Allison, who is a freak because she has white hair. A long time ago, an accident happened at a factory, which caused a lot of people to be turned into zombies. To keep the townspeople safe, they built a wall and quarantined all the zombies. And since then, they've made these bracelets called Z-Bands, how creative, that make it to where the zombies don't want to eat the humans. Because of these Z-Bands, the zombies are now allowed in human school. Kind of. They are stuck in the basement. But that doesn't stop Zed and Allison from becoming friends and slowly helping the zombies get more rights and access to the school. All while Addison and Zed's love blossoms. This was an okay movie, honestly. I expected to absolutely hate it. I expected it to be a big stinker. Oh, and trust me, it was testing my patience.
He just dropped that in Zombie.
It's obviously a movie about racism. They can't make that any more clear. But if you enjoy cringe DCOM musicals, this is right up your alley. I'm going to put it at B, honestly.
I'm the alpha, I'm the leader, I'm the one to trust.
In 2020, we got Zombies 2, and it is pretty much the same as the first one, but with werewolves. Since werewolves are around now and people are still scared of monsters like zombies, they reset the ban on all monsters and human interaction, which ruins Zed and Allison's chances of going to their version of a prom they call prawn, because their school mascot is a shrimp. So stupid. The werewolves believe that Addison is their great alpha because her hair is completely white, and they ask her for help to find the moonstone so that they can repower these necklaces so that they can live. One of the werewolf boys seems to be getting a little too fond of Addison, which makes Zed jealous and ultimately makes him werewolf racist. That's absolutely crazy. So he ruins the plan to save all of the werewolves because he doesn't want his girlfriend Addison to be considered a monster like him. But in the end, we find out that Addison isn't a werewolf. But they do find the moonstone hidden underneath the school, and with the help of zombies and regular people, they take it back to the werewolf's lair and they are now all friends and live happily together. I expected this movie to be super cringe because it does have this song in it.
I'm the alpha, I'm the leader, I'm the one to trust.
Oh, and it is, don't get me wrong, but it makes up for all the howling and weird wolf stuff by being a decent enough movie. I also really like that I love when Zed just zombies out in these movies. He gets like super strength and his veins get all crazy. It just looks super cool. I love that. But like I said earlier, this one is just equally as good as the first one. So I'm gonna put this one as B as well.
I was afraid we'd be separated by a couple 100 miles when you went to college.
Now we'll be galaxies away.
In 2022, they released the final, for now, Zombies movie. Now zombies, humans, and werewolves all coexist. And now our favorite characters are about to graduate and head off to college. And Zed has to worry about impressing some college recruiters so he can be the first zombie to go to college. And so he can open the doors for his friends and other monsters to possibly get into college as well. Well, that is until aliens come down and cause mass panic. The aliens come looking for Seabrook's most precious thing. Because you see, a long time ago, an alien crash landed on this planet and left coordinates hidden somewhere in Seabrook to their new planet. Sadly, their last planet was slowly destroyed by them because they were too stupid to listen to the scientists of their planet and save it before it's completely gone. At first, they believe the most precious thing is the moonstone from the last movie, but that turns out to not be it. And then Addison discovers that she is actually an alien, and her grandmother was the alien that crash landed into Seabrook. And it also turns out that she is Seabrook's most precious thing and has to leave Seabrook in order to fulfill her destiny, only for their new home to be Seabrook, so she didn't have to leave at all. Oh, and Zed gets into college. So this one was a little different than the other two. There's still a little hostility towards the aliens, just like there was hostility towards the zombies and the werewolves, and there's probably gonna find a new monster to be hostile towards in the next one. But everything else is pretty much the same. They all just, accept the aliens by the end of it. But the ending to this one was so dumb to me. You see, Addison and Zed have this really sad goodbye scene because she's having to leave for Lord knows how long, and he doesn't know if he's ever going to see his girlfriend and true love ever again. And the whole time they're singing this long, 5-minute song, I'm just thinking, why can't the aliens just stay at Seabrook? They're blending in just fine, they're fitting in just fine. What's the problem? And since humans are already used to zombies and werewolves living amongst them, I'm sure they wouldn't mind a few aliens here and there. And then she just comes back. Couldn't you have figured out that the planet you're supposed to be on was the planet you're already on before you lifted off into space and made me sad? Anyways, this movie's, it's fine. It's a good continuation of the other ones. It's nice to finally see Addison find her people and fit in somewhere, because that's like a whole trend with these movies, as Addison feels alone. But the end sucked, so it's going in C. I have an honorable mention to The Watcher in the Woods. I tried my best to find this movie online somewhere. There's a 2018 one. It's not Disney. It's not the one I wanted to see. The only time I did find a full-length version of it, it's on a website that plays ads over the movie. It's not like ads, like YouTube ads. No, it plays it over while the movie is still happening. It was so annoying. So I didn't get to watch it, but I really wanted to. And if you've seen it, let me know what it's like in the comments below, where you would rank it. And that's all of them. Once again, these are all my opinions of these movies, so you might have a different opinion. And if your favorite movie is low on the list, find a new favorite movie. Yours sucks. Also, let me know what movies I missed in the comments below. I have a Patreon. The $5 members get videos a day early, plus some bonus content, maybe some pictures of my cats, and a Discord server and your name right here on screen. Like the video if you like the video. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. I appreciate you all, and peace.